Hey, this is Mark, and this is the news today for June 27th, and there's a lot of news, so I'll go through it quickly. I'd just like to say that I appreciate you guys listening, if you actually do listen all through it. There actually is a lot of really important news that I hope you pay attention to because it can help you with your investing. It can help you just to be aware of what's happening in the world. Not everything is going to affect you, so chill out. Okay. In Europe, NATO is increasing their force of military soldiers from 40,000 to 300,000. It's a big deal. You know, they're building their own army now so that I guess not one nation has to say they're fighting a war, but with 300,000 soldiers, they can fight a war. Russia is just threatening so much. As a matter of fact, today, Russia attacked Kiev in two different places. There were 13 dead people thus far that's known of, that is known, and at least 25 are hurt. They attacked a mall and they attacked a stadium. And the worst thing about it is that where these attacks were done with missiles far, far away from the front line. I was just in Ireland, as you may know, and the cab driver was saying, oh, there's nothing really going on in Ukraine. There is definitely things going on in Ukraine. I use a lot of different news sources. It's bad. Okay. In Europe, again, the Northern Protocol, which is a trade agreement between Ireland and the UK, which is part of Brexit, is kind of being changed by the UK to their benefit. There's always been a red lane and a green lane for passing of products, but the argument that they're having right now is about the standards of the product checks. So things going back and forth between the UK and Ireland are being affected, and the UK is being a bit of a bully. This could affect peace in the region. Northern Ireland, UK have not had a good history. But more importantly, it could affect everybody in the world because Ireland creates a lot of pharmaceuticals. All right. In Japan, in other news, they are having a heck of a time with heat. Usually they have a long rainy season, but it ended much sooner than it normally did, and the heat came much quicker. Usually the heat doesn't come until after the rainy season is over, but since the rainy season ended, it's super hot in Japan and people are suffering. So it's lights out in Japan, mainly because Russia is not delivering as much oil to Japan. Again, energy, oil prices, so on. And it's affecting people in a drastic way. In other news, in South Africa, there are many albinos that are being attacked. Recently, the government stepped up and is trying to solve this racial problem, so to speak. I know that a priest was arrested and 3 other men regarding a murder in 2018, but keep an eye on that, how they're not being fair to albinos. I think they call it albinism. Anyway, in Ethiopia and Sudan, there are issues regarding borders, and this is creating fighting between the two countries. Again, both of those countries are heavy in minerals, and it could lead to much worse trouble, and the trouble actually may be stimulated by some outside forces. There's trouble in Ecuador over fuel prices, which again, somebody's stimulating this trouble. Ecuador is under a national strike, and these strikes are part of a communist message always. All right? The president is being asked to stop giving concessions to oil companies. They're expecting that oil production will remain only at half at this point. But if it's not resolved today with the strike, oil production will stop. More oil off the market brings more trouble and higher oil and gas prices. In terms of raw materials and minerals, as I said yesterday, Chile was striking in their copper mines. Copper prices have been dropping. We may see an increase in copper prices because of that. In Colombia, there was a bullfight. Apparently, It's part of the tradition of Colombia where the bull fights. They don't kill the bull, but the people jump out of the seats in the stadium, and they kind of participate in the bullfight. It's tradition. It's part of their heritage. Well, in fact, this bull ring, which looked like it was makeshift, all made of wood, kind of everything strapped together, up on stilts, tipped over and fell into the bull ring. What happened was, I believe 14 people died, but it was just horrendous to see this very tall structure just fall over into the bull ring. Anyway, the new president is going to have to deal with that. He's a communist. God knows what he's going to do. In Peru, truck drivers are on strike, and it's creating more problems. Again, all these strikes around the world are definitely part of the way communism works. They need the power of the people in order to move communism ahead. So when you hear a strike, don't only think that these are union people fighting for $1. This is an organized effort to see countries take away the rights of companies, with capitalism in their pocket. And listen to what Biden says. Biden is telling the oil companies not to make a profit. I mean, he's an idiot. Sorry. Let's go to another part of the world. In Haiti, there's more political trouble. Years ago, there was a guy named Aristide that was the president of Haiti. Well, people are begging for the come back. I know Haitians that called Aristide a criminal that are here in the United States. But again, because there's shortages, because there's trouble in Haiti, they're going to get this dictator back in Haiti. America should be there doing something, providing aid to these people, so we don't have more of a spread of these dictators. Another part of the country. In Jordan, there's a major toxic leak. This could kill a lot of people. Supposedly, it's very far from where people are, but I did see a video of this yellow smoke. It doesn't look good. Let's go to Hong Kong. Xi Jinping is visiting Hong Kong. What I've heard from people that I know from Hong Kong is that Hong Kong is dead. The territory and most businesses have left, and many people there wish they could flee because China is just pushing its weight around. That's news from some of the notes that I took. Now let's go through this easy newspaper itself. There's so much crime in New York City that even the mayor said he didn't know how bad it was. This is a picture of a person who stole out of stores 1,000 times and never had to pay any bond. They just let him out of jail. There's a great story you have to know about, okay? And maybe it's a symptom of journalism. But all I can say is that there was a journalist from Bloomberg, very prestigious, and there was a business story. And the business story was about this guy, Martin Shkreli, who jacked up the prices on pharmaceuticals and was doing insider trading. So this woman, Christy Smythe, the ex-journalist who left her husband and job for Pharma Bro, Martin Shkreli, confessed that she nearly missed her first marriage counseling session to visit the convicted felon behind bars and blasted critics of her former flame. Smythe, 39, told the Sunday Times that she and her now ex-husband were set to begin therapy on the day she was first able to visit Shkreli, also now 39, at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. Crazy! Yeah, I'd like to talk to their HR person at Bloomberg. I want a job. If you'll hire a crazy person like that, you'll hire me. The mayor of New York, Eric Adams, rode the subway, and I guess he's determined that things are really bad. Oh, here's a really good story. Rudy Giuliani was supposedly just tapped on the back. Okay? But that's not how martial arts go. So this guy comes up to Rudy Giuliani, smacks him. Look at where his finger, in the back. Have you ever seen those TikTok videos where the guy just goes like, and the guy falls down? Well, it seems this cat did the same thing to Giuliani. Look at his hand. So pretty much Rudy Giuliani was attacked. The guy's 78 years old. So I don't know who it was. I'm gonna have to read more on this. Who attacked him? But it's pretty relevant. Let's see what else we got. I talked to you yesterday about the Fox host that the brother got killed. It's terrible. Oh, look at this. In this day and age, this guy's running for office in New York, and he gets a swastika put on his campaign sign by some crazy person that is anti-pro-life. Unbelievable. Just because the guy's Republican. Oh, here's the Brexit change thing. So British Prime Minister Boris Johnson's government will press ahead Monday with legislation to scrap rules on post-Brexit trade with Northern Ireland, setting up further clashes with the European Union. The legislation, which would unilaterally replace the parts of the post-Brexit deal that was agreed to in 2020 by Britain and the EU due to sent back to Parliament's lower house for a so-called second reading. Foreign Minister Liz Truss said London's priority was to protect a 1998 peace deal that Ireland and the US and other nations have said could be put at risk. So there was a lot of problems with Northern Ireland. People bombing train stations and everything else. We don't need the IRA back. We don't want it. No. Funny story, Putin assigned this big dude to come in as general. Blah, blah, blah. The rest is really not that important. Let's get to the Wall Street Journal. More than 100,000 U.S. military veterans have sued 3M over hearing damage linked to what they claim are defects in the company's military-grade earplugs. Let's hope not. 3M is a great company. Let's hope that much of the damage that was done to people's ears is not that bad. I wouldn't want to see a great company like 3M get hurt. Amazon's Prime Day, not that big a deal. Come on, people. You should get your asses out and go to the store yourself. Robinhood under more trouble and scrutiny. Yeah, their Robinhood basically is, they were stealing from the poor and giving to the poor. It was ridiculous. Robinhood is not a good company. Let's see. Here's a good story. Abortion providers in several states across the country halted services in the wake of the Supreme Court decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, while supporters and opponents began to shift their focus on pill-based abortions and how new restrictions would be enforced. Okay, very true. I bought a company that makes the pill. I think contraception going up, the pill going up, morning after pill going up. Buy those pharmaceutical companies, in my opinion. I did. I bought 20,000 shares of a company called ENDP. Let's see. Strategists in both parties acknowledge that the abortion is now poised to play a larger role in midterm elections. I've been saying that. The U.S. convened a secret meeting of top military officials from Israel and Arab countries in March to explore what can be done about Iran. But Biden wants to ease up on Iran. Pfizer and BioNTech said their vaccines are good for little kids. I don't believe a word they say. A month after gunmen stormed school, killing 19 students and 2 teachers while police waited for an hour and 14 minutes to intervene, has created grief in Texas and has now moved to outright rage. Please, somebody think that maybe this kid was hired by the cartel or threatened by the cartel. Maybe somebody in the police force was working with the cartel to let this kid kill and teach the town a lesson or something. Something ain't right. There's a ton of Mexican violence, and it stretches into the United States. Let alone the fact that there are money laundering businesses being set up in the United States. South Africa. Oh, it's great. This is a big story. South African authorities are investigating the deaths of 22 young people. I believe that number has risen because these people were at a bar. The police come and says, "All right, everybody out." Then they spray like a smoke or something into the bar, and then these 22 people are dead. Something's up there. Whatever it was killed them, or maybe someone had poisoned them with drinks. And it's just a coincidence that the police came. Let's talk about it. I know that in Mexico there was a shootout, and I believe 4 policemen were killed. These cartel people came in trucks that were made like tanks, and then wiped out the police. They were outnumbered 100%. There's so much violence in Mexico. And Joe Biden still wants to keep the border open. Let's just say the facts, okay? I don't really like Trump, but Trump was building that wall, right? At least that would stop things from going overland. But the fact is that the cartel is building tunnels underneath that. That's another thing we'd have to fight. You know, we probably shouldn't have any buildings within a mile of the border on the American side. Let's see. Churches call for calm on first post-road Sunday. I went to a church. What they're calling for is people to get out to the states. Let's see. Yeah, killing a priest shakes violence-plagued Mexico. Hundreds of soldiers scoured the pine-covered mountains of Mexico's Sierra Tarahumara, looking for a local Sinaloa cartel boss accused of killing 2 elderly Jesuit priests in a crime that has sent shockwaves around the world. The killings last Monday, which led Pope Francis himself, a Jesuit, to bemoan Mexico's unrelenting violence, underscore how organized crime groups rule over huge swaths of the country's territory. It's the same as Russia. If you knuckleheads out there keep snorting cocaine, keep smoking weed, right, and don't go back to your government and say, hey, listen, why don't we just legally import the stuff? Then these guys get power. Money is power. They're killing people to keep control. We have to take military efforts against these people, but more importantly, you got to stop sniffing cocaine, you idiots. Oh, big news. E-car prices are skyrocketing. They don't have the battery material, and there's nothing but trouble in terms of all the minerals that go into batteries. Okay, let's see. A lot of stuff, a lot of opinions. Business and finance. Airlines are having problems. They're canceling flights. I think that the worst thing you could do is buy an airline stock. Although, with all the cancellations of airlines, if they had been overbooked, they can pick the cream of the crop, profitable flights, right? And they cut the other ones. Maybe they'll make a better profit. I'm not sure. Pretty much that's it. Let's get to the real gray rag. The New York Times. About the G7. This woman. This is an important story. Okay, in Grand Junction, Colorado, just 6 weeks before the 2020 presidential election, for vote counting bureaucrats, Tina Peters was so proud of her operation at the Mesa County Clerk's office that she invited a film crew in to show it off. There's no chance of mishap here, she boasted. The Russians can't hack into and start casting votes. On May 2021, it was Ms. Peters, not the Russians, who had helped engineer an audacious breach of voting machines, according to an indictment charging her with several felonies. Again, this is the New York Times. They play the left field, so we'll have to see what happens. The point of that story is she's running for office. The election is tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Supposedly she was working with a bunch of right-wingers. Let's see what we got here. India accuses rights leader of falsifying data on Modi. So in India, they're accusing the prime minister of messing with the data. Everybody wants to complain that the data is wrong. And it might be. Because once it's in there, it can be manipulated. Let's go, let's go, let's go. People have things to do. Okay. For gun violence researchers, bipartisan bill is a glass half full. So we're making some progress. Yes, we're looking at mental illness. No, it's not good that people can accuse you of something and then come in and take away your guns. I guess there's always loopholes. But you might have to treat your neighbors a lot better now, since they can rat you out. Maybe they'll have to give evidence. Pride parade yesterday in New York, big deal. If you've never been to a pride parade, I recommend you go there. I've seen it. It's pretty crazy. I can't believe there's so many gay people in the world. I didn't realize it until I went to one of these gay parades. It's huge. We're almost done, folks. Oh. Some guy at Disney used to be an engineer, now he's the head of content. Tesla's getting patted on the back because he uses Twitter so well to sell cars. Boeing is still a scummy company, rather, because of the 2 jets that went down that they won't take any responsibility for. And the relatives here are saying, don't fly Boeing. I agree 100%. I hate Boeing. They took no responsibility, and there was definitely a software breach. I don't know if the software was hacked into, but it was terrible. And that's it. That's our news for today. And I'm gonna stand up and turn this camera off right now.